Hey, my friends. Great to see you back. Today we are delving into 3 disturbing carnival horror stories that will make you tremble with fear before you even think about visiting a carnival next time. First, the carnival's phantom clown, story which reveals a dark secret behind a carnival attraction that leads to tragedy and loss for those who dare to play. Next, the haunted claw machine recounts a young boy's terrifying ordeal with a sinister claw machine and a mysterious man who knows too much. Lastly, the roller coaster encounter tells of a seemingly innocent ride that turns into a haunting experience with an overly friendly stranger. These spine-chilling tales will make you think twice about stepping foot in a carnival ever again. If you enjoy these stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to bring you more bone-chilling content. Stay tuned and stay safe.
Story 1. The Carnival's Phantom Clown.
Every year, my town hosts a grand carnival in October. It's the highlight of the year, with carousels, fair games, a hall of mirrors, and that nauseating twirly swing ride. As a child, I loved the sugar rush from cotton candy and funnel cakes, though it often left me feeling ill by the end of the night. Clutching my prizes in bed, I would replay the night's festivities in my mind, the excitement masking any discomfort. These days, the carnival has lost its charm for me. So, when my girlfriend, who works at the carnival, insisted we visit one night after everyone had left, I wasn't thrilled. "No lines!" she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "I even know how to turn on the Ferris wheel." I forced a smile and let her drag me to the shooting gallery. We sat down in front of the water pistols, aiming at bullseye targets 15 feet away. I let her win, of course. Hopping the counter, I headed to the prize rack lined with huge stuffed animals, baseball caps, and t-shirts. "Which one do you want?" I called back. She pretended to deliberate, snapping a picture of me beside the prizes. "I'm stuck between picking you or the stuffed octopus next to the clown head doll. I'll take the octopus." I rolled my eyes and reached past the clown head doll for the octopus. Next, she led me to the carousel. She disappeared into the engineer's control room, and a few seconds later, the pipe organ started, and the carousel cranked into motion. Mid-ride, she decided it was time for another picture. I tried to muster a genuine smile. We only stayed in the Hall of Mirrors for a few minutes. It was pitch dark, and we kept bumping into mirrors and each other. Naturally, she snapped a picture in there too, the flash blinding us momentarily. After that disorienting experience, we decided to call it a night. She said she was heading home to post pictures of our great night. The next morning, I checked Facebook and saw the small album she'd uploaded. I read through the comments. "Lucky bastards. Carnival all to yourselves, nice." But the next comments made my blood run cold. "Love the photobombing clown. Who's dressed up as the clown? Wait, what?" I looked through the pictures again, and sure enough, there it was. In the carousel picture, a tall clown stood in the background, blurred by the ride's motion, but unmistakably there, arms at his sides. In the Hall of Mirrors, the flash had illuminated a clown's face in one of the mirrors, his expression twisted and chilling. How many times had I bumped into him, thinking it was my girlfriend? And lastly, there was the picture of me at the shooting gallery prize rack. The clown stood next to the octopus I'd grabbed for my girlfriend. I had thought he was a doll. The realization made me feel sick. I'd been a hair's breadth away from him, his breath probably grazing my skin. What sort of sick thrill did he get from this? I called my girlfriend, who was still asleep, and asked if she knew the clowns hired for the carnival. Her reply made me shudder. They had stopped using clowns 5 years ago after parents complained they were scaring the kids. The unsettling presence of the clown in our pictures haunted me. Each image felt like a cruel reminder that we were never truly alone that night. The carnival, once a place of joy and nostalgia, had become a source of dread. The phantom clown, with his eerie smile and silent watch, turned our private adventure into a chilling nightmare. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of eyes lurking just beyond my sight. The thought of the clown standing so close, his intentions a dark mystery, left a scar of fear that time struggled to heal. My girlfriend tried to reassure me, but even she couldn't deny the eerie reality captured in those photos. From then on, the carnival's allure was forever tainted. The echoes of laughter and joy were overshadowed by the sinister memory of that night, and I vowed never to set foot in that place again.
Story 2. The Haunting of the Mirror Maze.
As a kid, I was obsessed with them. I drove my parents crazy begging them to take me to the amusement park just a few miles from our house. I practically memorized every ride and game there, yet I never got tired of it. But as I grew up, I lost interest. The thrill faded, and I thought I'd outgrown the magic of the carnival. Familiarity had turned the excitement into boredom. I was convinced I'd never step foot in a carnival again, but I was wrong. When I was a freshman in college, my friends decided to take advantage of a break to visit a carnival nearby. To my surprise, none of them were from the area, and the carnival they picked was the one near my childhood home. I was excited and a bit nostalgic as I told them about my connection to the place. We planned to go on a Friday night. The carnival was in full swing when we arrived. Colored lights flashing, rides booming with music, and the air thick with the sweet aroma of cotton candy and popcorn. Unlike my childhood visits, the place was packed. Everyone was dressed in extravagant costumes, adding to the festive chaos. Among the crowd, one figure stood out, a clown, an eerie replica of the one from the movie Terrifier. His smile was grotesque, revealing broken, bloody teeth. His costume was even more blood-stained and tattered than the movie's version. It was clear this guy had studied the character obsessively. While my friends were oblivious, I noticed him watching us from a distance, waving at me. Determined to have a good time, I decided to ignore him. My friends and I enjoyed the rides and games, but nostalgia kept me yearning for something new. Then, I saw it. The House of Mirrors, a twisted structure in a dark corner of the carnival. I'd always been scared of houses of mirrors, haunted by movie scenes of lost reflections and eerie whispers. But curiosity got the best of us, and we challenged each other to go inside. The House of Mirrors was a labyrinth of corridors and distorting mirrors. At first, we laughed at our grotesque reflections, but as we ventured deeper, the laughter faded. An unsettling feeling crept over me. I started noticing something strange in the mirrors, glimpses of the clown. At first, I thought it was my imagination, but there he was, moving between the mirrors. I turned to tell my friends, but they were gone. I was alone. Fear gripped me, but I pressed on, hoping it was all a prank. The clown's image was everywhere, always nearby, as if he were following me. My heart raced, and I quickened my pace, desperate to find an exit. Finally, I stumbled into a room surrounded by mirrors. I was trapped. Then, I saw him, the clown, now holding a huge hammer. I don't know who you are, but this isn't funny. Stop and leave now. My friends will beat you to a pulp if you try anything, I threatened. He laughed silently, and I panicked, frantically searching for a way out. Every mirror showed the clown closing in. My heart pounded in my throat. Cornered, I braced myself to face him. Suddenly, he charged, shattering mirrors as he came at me. In the chaos, I saw his reflection behind me. Before I could react, he grabbed my neck and slammed me into a mirror. I hit the floor, and he was on top of me, scratching my face with filthy nails. The pain was excruciating. I felt chunks of my skin being torn away. Desperate, I fought back. I managed to land a punch, making him recoil. I seized the chance to escape, finding my way out through the broken mirrors. I staggered outside, bleeding and disfigured. The clown stood at the entrance, grinning maniacally. I ran to my friends, who were clueless about my ordeal. I recounted the nightmare, but they hadn't seen the clown. My disfigured face was proof enough. They wanted to go back in and confront him, but I refused. I just wanted to leave. We left the carnival, but the experience haunted me. I never returned to any carnival, and that movie now terrifies me. The clown's sinister laughter haunts my dreams, and though my physical wounds healed, the psychological scars remain. I may look normal on the outside, but inside, I'm still torn apart by that night.
Story 3. The Roller Coaster Encounter.
The time was roughly 5 p.m. in the afternoon. It was the month of August, and I was on my way to the amusement park. The fair was only open for a short duration during the summertime, so I made sure to go as often as I could before the school year began. My parents were pretty lenient growing up. I didn't really have a curfew, which gave me the flexibility of staying out as long as I wanted despite only being a teenager. The distance from my condo to the fair was about a 10 to 15-minute walk, so commuting there was always a convenience compared to taking public transit like the hordes of people I saw entering the park. When I arrived at the entrance, I made sure to pay my fare and get a wristband that would enable me to go on rides for an unlimited amount of time. I remember seeing the usual stuff: roller coaster rides, food stands, a Ferris wheel, that kind of thing. To be honest, going to this specific fair could make anyone feel extremely claustrophobic, as the overbearing number of people in the lineups for food, rides, or game attractions made it difficult for anyone to get anywhere. I remember shoulder bumping at least several different guests before finally making it to the roller coaster ride I initially wanted to go on. The lineup for this particular ride was surprisingly not that long, so I immediately joined it behind this one girl standing in front of me. I politely tapped the girl on the shoulder and asked, "Excuse me, have you been waiting in line for long?" The girl turned around and said, "Not that long. You come here alone?" Yeah. How about you?" "Well, I guess I'm not alone anymore," she replied with a chuckle. I nervously chuckled back as she said, "I'm actually here with my boyfriend," and then looked at me as if she was looking through me, not at me. "So where is he?" I asked. She then said, "I'm looking at him." As the gates to the roller coaster ride began opening, guests from the lineup started rushing in, filling every cart on a first-come, first-served basis. The girl said, "What are you waiting for, babe? Let's go." I began following behind her as we both proceeded to make our way inside one of the carts. I didn't see the harm in sitting next to her, as I honestly found her pretty charming. "Hey, I'm Rob. What's your name?" I asked. "My name is Melissa, but you can call me Melly." "Well, it's nice to meet you, Melly." The girl then leaned over and kissed me on the cheek as I said, "Are you always this forward?" That's when the roller coaster abruptly accelerated. I began to hold on for dear life as the velocity of the ride felt like I was jetting on the highway at a rate of 200 miles an hour. As the roller coaster began zooming up and down in a ferocious manner, I could see Melissa staring directly at me through my peripheral vision. I casually glanced at her only to realize she was giving me the same bizarre stare she gave me during our initial encounter. At first, I thought she was just thrilled at the notion that my face looked silly from the turbulence of the ride. But then I realized that she was staring at me with a gaunt smile, like the movement from the ride didn't faze her in the slightest. I couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. As we began approaching the tail end of the ride, I nonchalantly looked around as if I was exploring the amusement park, but in reality, I was avoiding Melissa. The ride finally made its way back to the initial start point. I remember waiting for the operator's cue to unbuckle our seatbelts and safely get off the roller coaster. I made sure not to make eye contact with Melissa as the operator finally gave the green light for guests to exit the ride. That's when I got off and began speed walking, trying to find a fair game or another ride to go on. I then made my way into the huge Ferris wheel lineup, hoping to masquerade myself within the crowd. A small and soft hand began to firmly grasp onto the gaps of my fingers. I looked over my shoulder, and lo and behold, it was Melissa holding hands with me as if we were in a relationship or something. "Hey, it's me again," she said. Hey, getting a bit too comfy, aren't you?" I replied. "Yes, I'm very comfortable with my boyfriend." "Duh. Yeah, sure." Melissa then hugged me and caressed her head against my shoulder. I honestly could have shoved her away, but decided to take the high road and go along with the whole facade. Time began running slow as we steadily inched towards the entrance of the Ferris wheel. I couldn't help but think in my head, what the hell is this girl's problem? Why is she holding onto my arm like that? Does she really think I'm her boyfriend? After about 30 minutes of awkward silence and continuous unwanted arm hugging, we finally made it to the front of the ride and began making our way onto one of the passenger cars. Again, we both sat next to each other. Melissa then wrapped her arm around mine. I was now convinced that she had built a relationship that was obviously a figment of her imagination. The wheel then began to rotate as Melissa leaned her head on my shoulder and said, "Rob, can I tell you a secret?" Sure, Melly." "Hey, can you please stop? I think you're moving a bit too fast here. But it's your fault." "What the hell are you talking about?" "I have an impulsive behavior disorder." "You're kidding me. Every time someone calls me by my nickname, I develop an extreme compulsion where I can't resist the urge to kiss them." Melissa's eyes then wandered towards the sky, as if she was embarrassed to disclose such personal information. "But then why did you introduce me to that name?" I asked. That's when Melissa's phone began to ring. She pulled it out and revealed a video call coming from her mother. She answered the video call and said, "Hey, Mom. Hello, my precious baby pumpkin. How is the amusement park treating you?" "Mom, the view is quite amazing here. Say hi to my boyfriend, Rob. Isn't he a handsome son of a gun?" At this point, I was extremely aggravated by Melissa's antics. Despite her having the so-called disorder, I didn't want to make the situation any more awkward than it already was, so I just went along with it and entertained the idea that we were a couple. "Melissa's great. You guys make for a perfect couple. So, you gonna propose, or what?" her mom asked. What are you waiting for, big guy? Pop the question." Her mom continued. "Can we please stop this, Melissa?" I said. I then realized that the Ferris wheel had finally come to a halt as the operator gave us the green light to disembark. I used the opportunity to get the hell out of there and speedwalk as far away from Melissa and her psychotic mother as possible. "Hey, where did my son-in-law go?" "Rob, where are you going?" "I want to ride the Ferris wheel again so you can propose," Melissa shouted. "Leave me the hell alone or I'm calling the police," I yelled back. I then turned around and glanced at the Ferris wheel from a distance. I could see Melissa still sitting in the passenger car as the Ferris wheel began to operate again. A feeling of relief flowed through my body. Getting away from that clingy psycho brought me immense satisfaction. I made direct eye contact with her from where I was standing. What made this all the more disturbing was how emotional I saw her getting. I saw tears profusely run down her face. At this point, I could have bolted the scene and left the fair, but I honestly felt a little guilty knowing that I was the sole reason Melissa was crying a storm on the Ferris wheel. It made me gravitate towards staying and possibly giving an explanation as opposed to splitting the scene. The Ferris wheel then abruptly stopped as the ride finally came to an end. I saw Melissa at the very top passenger car as the guests below began to exit the ride. She then began shouting, "You're the worst boyfriend ever. I hate you. I wish I never met you." Without thinking, I said, "I'm not your boyfriend, Melly." That's when Melissa compulsively leaned over the passenger car to kiss me. No. I screamed. I was in my bed sound asleep when I got awoken by the light shining through the gaps in my blinds. I got up and pulled the blinds open as I began basking in the view that the 20th floor of my condo had to offer. The view was magnificent. I could literally see the entire landscape of my city through my windows. Down by the glistening lake was a fair right next to it. Seeing the Ferris wheel and roller coasters from a distance boosted my serotonin levels from excitement to exhilaration. My anticipation was at an all-time high. What better thing to do other than hit up my local amusement park on a Saturday morning? I thought to myself. My first instinct was to obviously invite my girlfriend to tag along. So I rang her number with my cell phone as I heard her soft mellow tone say, "Hey, babe," like she had just awoken herself. "Hey, what are you up to today?" "Nothing much, just studying. The usual. What's up?" "Did you want to go to the amusement park later?" "I can't. I have an exam on Monday, babe. Did you forget about my summer classes?" "Oh yeah, that's right. No waities. I'll just give Simon a call." "Okay. Make sure you take lots of pictures." "Will do. Good luck studying." I then called my friend Simon, and within a matter of seconds into the conversation, he was already up for the idea. I headed to my washroom and began to do my basic hygiene practices just before changing into some outdoor clothes to go outside. About an hour later, I caught an Uber and began making my way to the amusement park. I made sure to text my friend that I was on my way, as he replied back saying that he was already there. According to the Uber app, my arrival was going to take approximately 10 minutes or so. I wasn't going to keep my friend waiting for too long. as I could see the huge roller coaster rides and attractions appear closer the more we drove into the park's proximities. I felt like I was a kid all over again. All the nostalgic memories from my childhood began hitting me all at once the more I reminisced while staring at my reflection in the passenger seat window. We finally arrived, and I could see my friend Simon waiting by the entrance where the lines were. I got out of the Uber and began approaching his direction as we both bought a wristband each, and then started heading inside where all the carnival games were. Throughout the duration of the day, I would say that we both approximately spent close to $400 in total on carnival games, only to come out empty-handed. Well, not exactly empty-handed. Simon was able to win a small plushie, but ended up giving it to some kid as we were a little irritated from the number of losses we were taking. The park was about to close in an hour or so when I spotted an odd-looking machine from the corner of my eye. It looked like a clown animatronic inside of a wooden box. I then said to my friend, "Dude, look at that game over there. What the hell is that thing?" We both began approaching closer to the machine as the words in the box were now legible enough to read. The game was called Psychic Clown. There was a bold print on the front of the box that read, $1 per try. 2 slots indicated that the game accepted both coins and bills. I was a little intrigued by the game until the old man standing by the hot dog stand said, "Hey, what are you kids doing? This game is out of order." We just wanted to try it," I replied. "Away, kid. The game is cursed. I've seen too many stupid kids like you lose your lives." "What are you talking about? You lose everything. You hear me? Don't say I didn't warn you, idiots." The man then walked away. Me and Simon immediately scrabbled through our pockets looking for any change that we could find. The behavior from that man left us curious, but at the same time intrigued about what he was heckling about. What the hell was his problem? Simon asked. "I don't know. To be honest, I don't think I want to spend any more money today. Dude, I already lost about $200. I have like $5 left. What do you think we should ask it?" "I don't know how this thing works, dude. Let's see if it even accepts the money." I then placed a $1 bill in the slot as Simon impatiently pressed the go button. As I looked up at the glass, I could see the clown open its eyes wide and say, "Ask me a yes or no question to uncover the truth and then press the go button." Simon then jokingly asked, "Psychic Clown, is Dean ugly?" and then followed up by pressing the go button. The clown then bizarrely started to move back and forth while simultaneously laughing in a psychotic fashion, and then said the word, "Yes." "Okay, very funny, dude." I then slipped another dollar in and rebutted Simon's antics by saying, "Psychic Clown, is Simon going to be a virgin until he's 40? The clown once more began to move back and forth while the strange laugh echoed through the mouth of the animatronic, saying, "Yes." Okay, dude. Enough with the jokes. Let's ask it more serious questions." I then took out another dollar and slipped it into the slot while asking the clown, "Psychic Clown, do I have a girlfriend?" Again, the clown began to laugh and then said the word, "No." Well, that's a bummer. The clown is wrong. Let me ask this question that I know it can't possibly get wrong. I then slipped another dollar in as Simon asked, "Psychic Clown, is the color of my shirt white?" As the clown began to operate, I knew that if it answered this particular question wrong, then this was obviously just another lame gimmick that the fair used to finesse its customers. The clown then said the word, "No." Yep, definitely not legit. Well, I do have one more dollar left. Dude, I'm gonna catch the bus. Screw this clown. Alright, dude. I'll meet you at the front. Simon then began walking towards the entrance of the park, while I slipped my last dollar in the slot and asked it, "Psychic Clown, is the color of Simon's shirt red?" Again, the clown began its psychotic laugh and then said the word, "Yes." At this point, I was 100% convinced that this whole clown machine was a scam and that the gentleman from the hot dog stand was trying to frighten us. I began to approach the entrance of the amusement park as the shutdown of the carnival games indicated that the fair was just about to wrap up. I then saw a large crowd that seemed to be rattled by some sort of commotion going on. It sounded like the majority of people were in a frantic state as I could hear someone in the crowd yelling, "Help! Someone call the cops." As I noisily approached the group of pedestrians, I could see my friend Simon laying face first in a puddle of blood. I then began to frantically perform CPR by pressing on his chest as the blood from his shirt began to seep onto my hands while yelling, No! Simon, wake up. Simon, please don't die on me. Please, Simon. As the ambulance rushed Simon to the hospital, I could virtually see no movement or any vital signs of human life. Simon was immediately pronounced dead at the scene due to multiple stab wounds in his chest from an alleged assailant that fled the scene while supposedly trying to mug him at the bus stop of the fair. About a month after the tragedy of Simon, my girlfriend Maya broke up with me as she felt that being in a relationship was greatly affecting her work studies. I couldn't understand why my world began to suddenly crash on me. After long nights of heavy drinking, my parents became concerned with me and recommended that I see a virtual psychologist. Trying to cope with the loss of my friend and the end of my 3-year relationship with my ex-girlfriend was quite a bitter pill to swallow. As the summer was nearing the end, I decided to head to the amusement park once again in hopes that the fair games or carnival rides would help provide some sort of temporary closure. I then saw an attractive girl standing by the cotton candy stand. I figured I'd shoot my shot, so I approached her and said, "Hey, do you like roller coasters?" Yeah. Why do you ask?" "Because I can send you on a ride that you'll never forget." Nice pickup line. "Can I have your number?" Sure, I guess." I then reached into my pocket, only to see that I had forgotten my phone at home. I awkwardly grabbed a $1 bill from my wallet and embarrassingly asked the girl to write her number on it. The girl then took the bill and began writing her name and number using some red lipstick she had gotten from her purse as I held onto her cotton candy. She then handed back the bill and said, "Nice meeting you." "Nice meeting you too, Samantha." I began to walk further down the amusement park and could see the same psychic clown machine from a distance. A trickle of sweat began running down the side of my face as I then realized that the machine might have had something to do with the death of my friend or the end of my relationship. I then approached the machine and immediately placed a $1 bill in the slot while asking the question, "Are you the reason my girlfriend broke up with me?" The clown then began to laugh and do its unsettling movement, and then said the word, "Yes." After inserting another dollar in the bill slot, I asked, "Are you the reason my friend got stabbed?" The clown then responded with, "Yes." I then began to start seeing red as a security guard approached me from behind, saying, "Kid, the park is closing now. Can you please proceed to the exit?" Sure, no problem." As the security guard began hassling other people at the park, I used the opportunity to jump over the counter of one of the vendor booths that was currently closed and waited for at least 2 hours straight before the coast was clear. I then jumped out of the booth and went towards the direction of where the psychic clown was, only to see the entire machine relocated to the opposite side from where it initially was. I began to start banging my fists against the glass while yelling, "I know you're alive! You were right beside the freaking hot dog stand. You wouldn't think I'd notice. I knew damn well you were the reason my friend is dead and why my girl and I are separated." I unwittingly went into my pocket and grabbed the bill that had the written phone number from the girl I had just met. I slipped it into the machine only to have the bill eject into 2 pieces. I yelled from the top of my lungs, "Answer me! Answer me!" as the clown suddenly began to laugh despite not accepting the money I had put into it. The clown then vigorously started banging its head on the glass, as if it was suffering from some sort of faulty error or malfunction. "I'm done playing games with you," I shouted. I then went to go unplug the machine from the electricity outlet, only to see it had already been unplugged. The game is cursed. I've seen too many stupid kids like you lose your lives. Psychic clown, do I have a girlfriend? No. Psychic clown, is the color of Simon's shirt red? Yes. You'll lose everything, you hear me?
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to listen to similar stories in future.